Rejection occurs when someone attributes their own unacceptable thoughts, feelings, or impulses to someone else. Instead of recognizing one's own flaws, they see them in others.
Wild pursuit of fame and fortune. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please, because today is obviously a day of celebration. Yes, in case you missed it, we officially have become the #1 podcast in the world. And the haters stay mad. Your entire life. You started doing pageants, I think we showed when you were like 12.
Oh, snap. Candace Owens was a video vixen? Yo, this is crazy. Nah, this can't be real. She was in Young Steph's professional video.
Okay, 6th grade maybe, and you have not stopped wanting to be in the spotlight. Every person you have dated has had some degree of fame, and you saw Charlie as your ticket to more fame.
Y'all, Candace Owens is in the news again. Somebody said, oh God. Candace Owens in the news for her recent interview on The Shade Room explaining why she married a white man. She said color is not what she sees. She does not see race whatsoever. She said due to her extreme intellectual mind, she was seeking a partner that challenged her intellectually, and her husband is a genius. She was seeking a partner that challenged her intellectually, and her husband is a genius.
Get comfortable, you guys, because it is going to be a long week. I have so many explosive revelations to share with you. An open genocide for starving people. You, in this moment, have retired Green Beret and the former lieutenant colonel. I actually think he's still a lieutenant colonel of the Army. Obviously, that's wrong. There's 1,000 ways that you can honor Charlie. Stop telling us that it has to always be Miss Macabre, like we have to have the bloody mic. And we want the CEO and the chairman of Turning Point USA to answer. Okay? If you can't compartmentalize, then I don't see how you're going to be able to. We don't like them. We don't agree with the industries they went into. All of that can be true, but you have to be able to compartmentalize that when you are looking at a case. Since long before this ever broke out between her and Justin Baldoni, that we have to compartmentalize. Blake Lively is not a good person. Or Donald Trump from the #MeToo movement. It is very important to compartmentalize how you feel about somebody personally from how you are. Can't compartmentalize. To compartmentalize that. To compartmentalize. Was not coming out of racist ideas, right? It wasn't because people were just trying to delegitimize him. It was because this must just all be crazy rantings. Every day, Candace is up on this show like Miss Cleo from the 90s and just like predicting what she thinks happened. It's such a ridiculous way to try to delegitimize the research that we have done. Now, I don't know how you're able to comment. She pulled the good old Barack Obama, dropped a book, an autobiography that was meant to legitimize her to the Black public. And everyone that should be using their platforms to try to get to the bottom of what happened to him and asking similar questions is instead calling out Candace Owens and waiting for her to make a mistake so they can try to delegitimize every effort that she is making to get to the bottom of this thing. It just reeks. But really, it was about the architecture, I want you to understand. Sitting there across from Alex Clark, like, her Catholic, no, he just liked the architecture. And I no longer accept him and Erica. And he liked the smells and the bells. He loved the architecture, but there was no more substance for him.
She was seeking a partner that challenged her intellectually, and her husband is a genius. And he just so happened to be white. She said people actually marry to their IQ, not their color.
And then you finally got it, in your view, when you walked out in a white pantsuit with sparklers behind you and you sucked all of that in. That was it. That was the moment.
One moment, Charlie was doing what he loved, arguing and debating on campus, fighting for the gospel and truth in front of a big crowd And then he blinked. He blinked and saw his Savior in paradise. And all the heavenly mysteries were revealed to him.
It's just beautiful, and to really think about that, that he just blinked and then he was with the Lord. And it is just a fact that, I mean, Charlie just loved the Lord. It was constantly, like I told you, going through the conversations and how much he would just say, I need to pray about it, I need to pray about it, I need to pray about it, wanting to marry Erica. First thing he said, which I think I showed you guys last week. And Erica's correct. It is important to remember that message of forgiveness that we have within ourselves. And it sometimes feels very hard to do that, but we are called upon to forgive people, to forgive our enemies, even in moments that it seems impossible or extraordinary to do so. Finally, Erica, finally for you, after decades of trying, you had made it into the spotlight and everybody loved you. Brand, merchandising, shirts, you got on that Zoom call. The sales have been crazy, 50,000 shirts sold. And kicked back into the LLC that me and the Charlie Kirk Show people own. For Charlie. Available on the website. And we have great merch. You know, we do. Come on. Everyone likes the Make America Christian Again hat. David has done a really great job taking our merch up to the next level. Yes, you caught me red-handed. I've been exposed. We do sell merch so that our show can be self-sustaining and that we can pay our employees. We are a small team, and yeah, merch helps a lot with that. And it certainly helps with these never-ending lawsuits that keep coming and these never-ending legal bills, because people can't beat me in the free markets, and so they want to steal. And then it all came crashing down because maybe Charlie had an actual friend. That's what you're upset about, Erica. Money and fame. There was no substance in this article because there was no substance in you. But me demonstrating that you have a character flaw that you are not even aware of. His arch nemesis, Nick Fuentes. Okay. He delivered a more impassioned response to what happened to Charlie than Charlie's wife did. By taking a stab at Charlie Kirk, who's dead, he had his great epiphany about Israel after they stopped paying him to shill. That's why I didn't take 1 minute or one sentence rather of him trying to eulogize Charlie Kirk seriously, because that right there is the real Nick Fuentes. It's unbelievable, the forgiveness that she granted, the strength that it took for her to call for that forgiveness. It's just unmatched, and it really made a difference. And I was being serious when I tweeted that I think it was the most consequential speech in American history. His arch nemesis, Nick Fuentes, he delivered a more impassioned response to what happened to Charlie than Charlie's wife did. Didn't take 1 minute or one sentence rather of him trying to eulogize Charlie Kirk seriously. I think it was the most consequential speech in American history. I certainly didn't suspect Turning Point USA would be, as I believe, involved in a cover-up. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him. And I've never said that. Cam Higbee is on the payroll of Turning Point USA, the very organization that just had its leader assassinated in broad daylight in front of the entire world. What about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial?
You repeatedly questioned why we weren't being told where Charlie Kirk is buried. Did you get those answers?
You have the wrong commentator who questioned that.
You've never asked where Charlie's buried?
Nope. What about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial?
She has said Charlie's murder, quote, had to be approved by Charlie's friends, and then suggested those friends might have her murdered too for, quote, knowing.
I never said that. The decision was made to murder Charlie Kirk, a decision that very clearly had to be approved by Charlie's friends. Is this going to be the pathway forward? You're going to start murdering more people in broad daylight for knowing? I never said that. I was totally in a cloud of grief. Okay, you remember I had to go away to Wyoming just to breathe. Like, what am I doing wrong here that I have to go away and cry for a long time, and everyone else just kind of seemed giddy? That's the only way I can describe it, like giddy. That emotion shouldn't be possible. It shouldn't be possible, actually. I was in this aggrieved stage, and I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop crying about it every second. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. First, this is fantastic that Preborn is doing this. I just want to remind you guys about Pure Talk. Also reminding you guys about American Financing. Also reminding you guys about GNO Land. Also telling you guys about Just Thrive. You can head over to our website, CandaceOwens.com. You can sign up, buy yourself a hat. I still haven't spoken to the press about Charlie Kirk, actually. I haven't even given one interview about Charlie Kirk because it felt icky to me. I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. There's old footage of Tyler Robinson that is now circulating.
And as I get into the intersection, there was a vehicle in the lane.
Tyler certainly refers to it as his car, not his vehicle.
Vehicle in the lane.
He wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year.
First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents and you're doubling down on your lie. I told you to publish the full letter that Charlie wrote you, not lines of it. Okay? It's a lie by omission.
New York Post got a hold of that letter. They've now published it. Charlie Kirk expressing his love for Israel. No attacks on Israel, just advice on how to fight lies and reach the next generation.
November 25th, I obviously tweeted, Macrones have executed upon and paid for my assassination. I report to the FBI. Of course, I reported it to the FBI. I did not at all hear back from the FBI. And I will say, I didn't go through an official channel and send an email, and I should do that. But I did send a text message to somebody very high up.
If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix.
So I accept it with whistles and bells, everything I fully accept. You can pick the place, you can pick the time, but no, they need to have it in person in Phoenix on December 15th, or they cannot have me at all. No one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erica Kirk has the power to shut me up. There's nobody that has the capacity to get me to shut up about this except for Erica Kirk and my husband. I'm not going to stop unless Erica Kirk asks me to stop. If Erica Kirk asks me to be quiet, I will be quiet.
Stop. To stop.
I just do not accept any of that. Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen.
You said that people at Turning Point were complicit in his murder.
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe that thoroughly.
Candace, you didn't say that.
There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen.
You said there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
I'm certain he is going to probably be doing a lot of interviews in the near future. I just cannot see how this would lead to anything other than a full confession from the government about the military's involvement in his assassination. Like I said, I'm going to put together a fundraiser for you. And I do believe you are a missing piece of this. I don't know what comes next, but I just want you to know that like you have an ally in me, and I hope you see that I am a fighter. And when I see good people and bad things happen to them, I will fight. We didn't know what it was going to lead to. And I was like, I couldn't have been more deferential in saying that this could literally lead to nothing. You know, like, hey, this guy said this, whatever. And then all of a sudden you guys every day are obsessing over it. You won't let it go. I had him on the show. That was it. Another donor who was at the Aspen event actually says that they do remember Charlie mentioning Erica if, situation, something happened, that Erica would know what to do. A couple who said that they did remember it. I cannot stress this enough. The donors who were in attendance in Aspen are telling me that Charlie never said this. We don't know where it's going to end, but we are going to keep asking questions until we get clear answers.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing to the public is you.
When narcissists project or use projection as a defense mechanism and part of narcissistic abuse manipulation, then that means that they are essentially taking what is part of them, and usually this is a subconscious process. They're taking a part of them, a trait or a behavior or a characteristic that is uncomfortable for them or that they don't want to take ownership of, and they're essentially projecting that onto someone else. They're assigning that trait, characteristic, behavior, action, choice onto someone else, again, because they don't want to take responsibility for it. And it's a defense mechanism to protect them from having to number one, look at themselves and see the reality of what's going on within them, but also to help prevent others from seeing the reality of what's going on with them.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.